Hello, buddy. You're on the Somar channel. Enjoy watching. Guys, what's the most offensive thing you've heard from a girl? When I was about 20 years old, one of my best friends came to me and complained that some guy didn't want to date her, explaining that she wasn't attractive enough. She was a little drunk and crying a lot. I hugged her and she said, "Now I understand what it's like to be you. You could be the perfect guy for me, if you were a little prettier." She said it after 2 weeks of our communication, word for word. One day, I went out of a bar with my colleagues and met my friend's sister. She told me exactly the same thing. Her directness killed me. When I told her brother about it later, he couldn't understand why I brought it up. Dude, don't be dumb, that's a compliment. No, asshole, that's not a compliment. The first part of the phrase is yes. The second part is no. I'm far from handsome. So imagine my surprise when some beautiful stranger approached me in a crowded bar. This has never happened to me. She got as close as she could, whispered, "Hey, do you mind if I kiss you?" I lost the bet and looked back to where her friends were sitting and laughing hysterically. KKK. Of course, I muttered. Not because I was nervous, but because I was upset. After I realized that I was once again the subject of someone's joke, I didn't want to kiss her. But knowing my awkwardness in communication, I thought that if I refused, I would only prolong the whole situation. No, I didn't feel any pleasure. When our lips touched, I felt tears welling up in my eyes. Her friends at the other end of the bar were cheering her on, and I saw that my friends were laughing too. I wanted to disappear. People have repeatedly said various unpleasant things to me, but this incident was the most offensive. I was over the moon with happiness when she approached, but her words quickly brought me down to earth. I've heard it twice already. It's not about your character or your personality. It's just that I'm not really attracted to black guys. I'm not mad at them. Everyone has their own preferences. It just sucks to realize that the only thing wrong with me is something that I can't change in any way. Changed. Thank you for your support. They're not terrible people. Moreover, I'm still friends with one of them. I'm not worried about it anymore. It doesn't make sense. Well, look, it didn't stop Michael Jackson. I was 14 at the time. I was on a cruise on the Adriatic Sea. We were heading to Greece. It was so hot outside that I decided not to spend the night in the cabin. I took my sleeping bag and went to sleep on the deck. Half an hour later, 2 French girls appeared from somewhere. I was almost asleep when I heard one of them say, "Hey, it looks like someone's sleeping here," to which the other replied, "Let's see if he's cute." As soon as she finished, the whole world turned into one bright white spot for me. She took out a flashlight and started shining it right in my face. Then she uttered that most frightening word, "Nope, you have a disgusting laugh. Never laugh again." I used to laugh all the time, but after those words, something changed. Every time I want to laugh, I remember her words. What for? What kind of person should you be to humiliate another person because of laughter? It's a natural sound that occurs when someone is happy. What the fuck? Please don't stop laughing. You're not a man. You're a loser. Because apparently, a real man is someone who works all the time for a woman and her children, not his children, so that she can stay at home and do whatever she wants. Long live the gender roles of the 1930s. A girl I really liked and whom I was actively hitting on told me, "It's a pity you're not as handsome as your brothers." I had problems with self-esteem before, but when she said that I was the fastest, it was harsh. By the way, just so you know, I have 4 brothers. I know how much it hurts. I have the same joke with my sister. She could become a model. She's just a beauty, perfect facial features. And how can I tell you? It seems that God is still a joker. I'm sure he laughed like that when he created me. I always guessed that I wasn't very pretty, but one moment in college made it clear to me. I'm sitting with my classmate. He sees pictures of my sister on my phone. He, "Oh, so your sister's with her?" Yeah. He, "It's a pity that you don't have her details. I would have hit on you a long time ago." Me, "Why don't you go somewhere else?" After that, I stopped studying with him. He failed the next English exam. And if you're reading this, Chad, it serves you right. You're boring me. Until that moment, it seemed to me that we were communicating well. When I was in high school, at the end of the school year, girls came up to me and informed me that they had held a vote in which they chose the fastest guy in school, and according to its results, it turned out to be me. The fact that they organized such a vote makes them even more ambitious. I wish I could love you the way you love me, but I don't have those feelings, and I'm not sure I'll ever have them. That's the bravest and most honest thing a girl has ever said to you. A friend of mine once read me a message she sent to her ex. You're the most pathetic person I know. It doesn't surprise me at all that your parents don't want to talk to you. You go to the gym to make people like you, and so they don't talk bad about you behind your back. But in fact, all they do is talk about what a loser you are. You have a body like a baby. You're a balding 30-year-old with a figure that will never attract any girl. A part of me died in that moment. Women know how to put pressure on the most painful places and turn a man's self-esteem into powder. I don't even know how I would recover if I got something like that. Hold on, man. You're a robot devoid of any emotions. It would seem nonsense, but it hurt me so much because I really worry that I never feel anything. I hope that after that you looked into her eyes indifferently and said beep softly. Nothing. She called me and offered to hang out. I figured out where we're going and what we're going to do. But when the time came, she didn't come. I tried to make sure we had a great time, but she didn't care. She didn't lose anything from it. She hadn't done anything wrong in her head. She thinks it's okay. But it's a waste of time for me, plus I told my friends that I won't be able to see them because I already have plans. It's a betrayal in every sense. I lost time, money for tickets and all that. It sucks when that happens to anyone, but for some reason only girls have done that to me. And I had a case when a girl, without saying anything, broke off our relationship. Everything was pretty serious between us, but she abruptly decided to stop everything. I had already realized a few weeks before that something was wrong, but we never talked about it. Then I spent another month trying to figure out what had happened, but she avoided me with all her might. When we finally got on the phone, she gave me some dumb excuses. Everything that was said in this thread is, of course, insulting, but to be thrown out of life like garbage without any explanation is really unpleasant. It's very difficult to recover from this. When I was in my sophomore year, I found a girlfriend. She was a freshman. At one point, we somehow began to communicate less. But then she sends me an SMS in the spirit of "we need to meet." We agreed to meet on Tuesday, I think, and we were going to study. She comes to my place, we study for a while, and then she starts hitting on me. Everything is going great, but at some point I see her getting a message like, "So how's your pathetic date?" She starts answering, and I see from the correspondence that she was the first to call our meeting a date out of pity. I pretended that I hadn't noticed anything. She stayed with me for another 30 minutes, after which she started getting ready to go home. Saying goodbye, she reached out to me for a kiss, but I turned away and said, "No, this is too much for a pathetic date." There was horror on her face. She didn't know what to say. I left, and then she said my name. It's like something out of a lousy movie. I didn't talk to her anymore. By the way, she's wildly fat right now. "I love you," she said when I dropped her off at her house. I was never allowed to visit her because she allegedly lived with very hostile and embarrassing neighbors. This went on for months. As a result, it turned out that she didn't even live there. Her boyfriend lived there. Her house was just around the corner. She used me to give her rides to her boyfriend. She sent me kisses, told me how much she loved me, but a minute later she was hugging someone else. "You're very sweet and cool, but I need someone taller." Unfortunately, this has happened to me more than once. But whatever. But I have a lot of time for hobbies and hangouts. Changed. Yes, to each his own. It just kills your self-esteem wildly when you try very hard to please yourself, improve yourself in all ways. But in the end, you fail because of some bullshit that is beyond your control. Dated a girl for a year. It was winter break. We went to my family. Since my family lives in Hawaii, I decided to stay with them for 2 more weeks. 3 days after she left, she decided to break up with me via Facebook. I was shocked. It was my first relationship. She was the first girl I really fell in love with. I can't say that I took it easy. After 2 weeks of my time in the dark, I called her and arranged a time when I could pick up my things from her. When I came to pick them up, we saw each other for the last time. The last thing she said to me was, "I don't understand why you're suffering so much. No one is worth being so worried about. Just move on. It's not a big deal. You'll be fine. Maybe it's not so terrible." But I'll remember those words forever. At that moment, it seemed to me that I would never recover. But now I have to say that this is probably the best thing she could have done for me. After that, I got hooked and started working on myself. To be honest, I'm happier than ever now. Some troubles in our lives do not happen by chance. That's the end of it. You can watch our other videos. Thanks for watching and don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.